Hello and welcome to my channel, the so-called travel expert. If you are considering visiting any of the Nordic or the Scandinavian countries to see the northern lights, you must be wondering whether to join any organized tours or to do it yourself. I was facing a similar question when I was planning this trip. You know, is it better to go with an organized tours who give 98% plus guarantees of 98% plus that you can see the northern lights, or is it best to do it yourself? And when I heard about the fees that these organized tours charge, which is around 150 euros per person, that pretty much convinced me that I can do it myself, given that I'm a budget traveler. So, in case you are also in the same boat as me, please keep watching and I can share my experiences and tips. And I can also confidently tell you that I've observed, or rather, we have observed the northern lights for 2 nights in a row just by ourselves without going for any of these expensive organized tours. So, understanding the scientific basis of the aurora borealis or the northern lights is quite important, I believe, because once you have a sound scientific understanding, it is less likely that you will fall for or get swayed or influenced by the marketing techniques used by many of these adventure companies. So, the two most important requirements, amongst other things, for seeing the northern lights are the solar activity, which is the first important point, and secondly is the local environment or climatic conditions on that particular evening. So, what is meant by solar activity? I can very simply try and explain you what that means. The sun is always emitting charged particles, and these charged particles travel through the universe towards the Earth. Now, let's assume this is the Earth, and the Earth has a magnetic field which is quite weak at the equator, and it converges towards the north and the south poles. So what that does is, when these charged particles emitted by the sun approach the Earth, they are deflected by the magnetic fields around the equator, and they are funneled towards the poles. So what that means is you have a higher chance of observing the northern lights, or the southern lights for that matter, above the Arctic Circle in the North Pole or the South Pole. So I will only focus on the North Pole in this episode. So a measurement of the solar activity is usually, amongst many other factors, there is one particular measurement called KP index. And usually when you have a KP index of higher than 5, uh, you are guaranteed to see the northern lights. However, it's very rare that you have solar with the KP indexes of higher than 5. Usually they are in the range of 2, 3, or even 1. And the advantage of being above the Arctic Circle is you can view or observe these northern lights even when the KP index is 1 or 2. Another reason why it's always said you can best view the auroras or the northern lights from above the Arctic Circle is because this is where you actually have the chance of seeing the northern lights directly overhead. As you go further down from the Arctic Circle, the likelihood is that you will never see the auroras overhead, but somewhere on the horizon. And that's why, even from places like north of Scotland, north of England, you can sometimes see the auroras, but these will almost always be seen at the horizon and not overhead. Assuming that you are above the Arctic Circle and that there is sufficient solar activity that measured by KP index above 2, the second most important point is that you need clear skies to be able to observe the northern lights. Even a light cloud cover will hinder you from seeing these northern lights. So these are the two main requirements that you need to see the northern lights. First is the solar activity, and the second one is clear skies wherever you are. And believe me, none of these touring companies can influence both these factors, so this is really down to nature and your luck. So is it possible to maximize your chances of seeing the auroras without having to go through a tour company or a guided tour? I think it is possible. I've done it myself, and hopefully my experience can encourage you as well to try and plan your trips by yourself. So in our case, we decided to visit Tromso because this is located at a latitude of 70 degrees above the Arctic Circle. And we also chose to visit just towards the end of summer, beginning of autumn season, which is, it is said that it is quite a good season and it maximizes your chances of seeing the auroras. The important aspect here is the daylight, and the length of the day and night are almost equal of 12 hours. What we also did was, rather than resting all our hopes only on seeing the northern lights, we also chose Tromso and Norway because it has outstanding areas of natural beauty. So irrespective of whether we saw the northern lights or not, there were quite few other activities to do, visiting the fjords, hiking in the mountains, and so on and so forth. So obviously, when you are in the northern part of Norway, public transport outside the cities is fairly limited, and chances are that you would either rent a car or have your own caravan or a motorhome. And this really helps a lot because you can get out of the cities and away from the street lights and really be in near total darkness, which also improves your odds of seeing the northern lights. It is also good to know that there are many apps available free of charge, which give you a very good prediction of the solar activity and the possibility or probability of observing the northern lights. In fact, some apps also give you an update, a notification, that you would probably have a good likelihood of seeing the northern lights within the next 30 minutes to 1 hour. So I wouldn't recommend any specific app, but here is a list below of the few apps that I have used, and I found them to be quite reliable. So in our case, we traveled from Tromso to the Lofoten Islands and its capital city or town of Svolvær. We were very lucky with the weather because we had an absolutely beautiful day with clear skies, no winds, and we used that day to experience the fjords and hiking in the Svolvær region. And in the evenings, we just drove out at a short distance of around 15 to 20 minutes outside of Svolvær, where we got our first glimpses of the northern lights. Have a look. Now, another claim made by these tourist companies is that they can also photograph you with the auroras in the background. Now, believe me, you do not need any specialist equipment. Your simple handheld mobile phone is also more than capable of taking pictures of the northern lights. The only thing that you need is a very steady hand, or at best, if you have a tripod, and you need to go into the settings and adjust the shutter speed time. Any shutter speed above 1 or 2 seconds is good enough to give you very good photos, images of the northern lights. The accommodation that you choose is also quite an important factor, because if you choose your Airbnb or your hotel in the city center, the likelihood of you seeing the northern lights amongst all the city lights is quite low. So you could also do what we did here in the island of Senja, close to Tromso, is we booked an Airbnb outside the city Actually, it is on the farm, you can see in the background, and it is located right on the shores of the Norwegian Sea. So it was a 10-minute drive to the town center, but that didn't matter for us. The advantage is we could look or observe the northern lights just standing here in the balcony. So rather than being outdoors for hours together in the freezing cold, we could just pick and choose our time based on the Northern Lights app and just come out to the balcony and have a nice view of the auroras. So I hope this short video gives you the confidence that you do not need to spend a large amount of money uh, going by a professional organizing agency to go and see the Northern Lights, and that you can save yourself loads of money by just being a bit more informed and organized. If you find this content helpful in your planning and you do end up seeing the Northern Lights, please do give a like and please leave a positive comment as well. Thank you.